All right, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled day. It's Happy to Hump Day. It's Wednesdays. I remember, I'll never forget. Always on the trading floor on Wednesdays. It was always, it was like the salt mine, and people would be like, "Oh, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday." And it's like, yeah, another day of the week. I guess when you're a clerk, it's one way, and when you're a trader, it's another. All right, let's take a peek at what's going on. Let's see. Let me go to the website and check out. There it is right there. See if there's any questions to start off the day. And as you can see on, I'm sure you're seeing it. Let's see, let's go to the screen. And let's see what we got going on here this morning. Let's see how the Swissie's doing. There's the euro. Euro was weakening a little bit yesterday, nothing major. It seems like they've got the bonds under control. That seems to be the way it's going at this point. The Federal Reserve has gotten a grip on them. They were flipping around, shaking people up, and now I don't think they're as paranoid. I guess it's the best way of looking at it. When the fundamentals seem to have some characteristic kicking out. You can see here on Chicago Quant. See how it's moving up. Yesterday was trying. Today it's trying, but you can see there it's not through the weekly, but it is trying to lift back up. Look at the weekly itself. I'm sorry, the daily. With the daily, you can see these two are trying to lift up. That means the dollar is picking up a little value again, whereas on the weekly basis right here, you can see it's still weak, and then you can see over here on Chicago Quant, it's not looking back at all at this point. It's just saying, yeah, they're just making noise. It's just making noise when you look at the difference between the fast-moving stochastic there against the slow-moving stochastic there, and you can see the commodities index is trying to lift up. The CCI is trying to show like there's a little more strength out there, and it's not backing off that much. And so I guess that's where we're at the moment. We're just going to be seeing that type of action. It's just firming up more and more and more. And so it's just they're trying to do something. There's no doubt about it. Between the cryptos getting some type of grip now. Matter of fact, I heard a money manager today talk about. I'd had the same discussion. Both my sons have economic degrees, and we were talking on, I guess, on Monday. Today's Wednesday. So we were talking about that, and I was saying to him on Monday, I said, you guys have economic degrees. I have science background, and I have some I did some financial accounting and so forth just for the sake of it when I got to the exchange to understand the financial world. But overall, I don't, I never had an economics course. Had a political science course, but anyway, end result is that the portfolio manager came out this morning and said something like what I had suggested to one of my sons. Is I said, back in the old days, a money manager would use 1, 3 to 5% depending on how they interpreted inflation. And now, without a doubt, I've become very convinced, and a lot of other people have too, that the crypto assets, and they really are crypto assets. They're not cryptocurrencies. They're crypto assets. And just like gold is not a gold currency, it's a gold. And they're using it for it. And there are people out there, I'm sure, that are using the cryptos as a currency. But overall, they're truly an asset, just like gold is an asset and silver is an asset. And what we're seeing is money managers are starting to drift into the idea that they need to own 1 or 3 or 5%, depending on how inflation looks into the future or how high inflation has gotten if it's backing off. So we're going to be seeing a lot more strength in the cryptos for that reason alone. It is truly now becoming, I guess it's evolving into a inflation tool, which is exactly what we all wanted. We wanted an alternative. When they started talking about the blockchain and it started developing the cryptos, with Wilco on the website, on the Dukascopy webinar, and a few others asking questions about it, but Wilco being a student of that game, Yeah, he was one of the presenters to Dukascopy at the time. He jumped right into the crypto universe, and and basically, we were looking for a product to find a third way, I guess you could say. In other words, and that's what the cryptos are doing. They're finding a third way, and so they're starting to represent what the gold and the silver used to represent. And they show, as long as there's electricity and an internet, they're going to be a very valuable asset, a very valuable asset. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, that's where we are, and we'll just jump over to over to the next currency. Let's take a look at the euro. See what the and we don't have the fact check spreadsheet up. Let's put that up too. There it is. Let's move it over. There we go. I think we could move our pictures around a little bit too, can't we? Move this over to here, like that. We could even move it down, I bet. Let's see. So you can just see that. There we are. And then we got that right there. So now let's jump over to the euro. See how it looks on the screen. Oh yeah, it's got plenty of room there, that's for sure. So I could actually grab this and move it over a little bit further, like so. So we get a bigger picture of it. There we are. Alright, let's move it back just a tad so you can see all the numbers. There we are. And the same thing with this here. This looks like it can be moved over also. There we are. And then I can move this over and we can see the bid and offer right there, like so. Ooh, I think we're losing something there, aren't we? How's that look? I think we do lose the numbers, so we have to move that over just a tad. There we are. How's that? That looks pretty good. We can see pretty much everything there. So let's jump over to the euro now. Right there. And we'll take a look at euro first on J4X. And you can see here the euro is very strong. You know, it's been strong for weeks. You can see it on our fact check spreadsheet. Was at line 14, a couple weeks in a buy, 12 days in a buy. It's showing lots of strength in there. We'll jump over to Chicago Quant, our proprietary chart, and take a look and see how well it matches up to it. Where is it at? Right there at the top. Yeah, it's just that little weakness that's generating it we saw in the Swiss. 47, good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening. Let's take a look and see. Let's look and see. Let's see. Canadian. Let's see what Mr. and Mrs. Canadian. We'll do it on J4X first. Right there. On our fact check spreadsheet, I think it's in a buy for a couple days, isn't it? Yeah, so it's actually a weekly buy and a daily buy. So it's moving up. You can see it there on J4X this morning. And let's take a look at it on the proprietary. If I go like that, and I move that over a little bit more, there we are. Let's see how that looks. And Canadian right there. And as you can see, it's doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, they've spiked it. Today is the third day. And we've been in a buy. Where's the daily buy? Buy is right there. So let's put that daily buy in. I thought we had that daily buy on there. There it is. So you can see it's going on its third day. I guess that's an example of the weakness in crude. I did look at the crude this morning. I was as I was saving it for Robin, I was looking at it and I thought, look at that. You know, they're pressing it down again, and just as it. Yeah, that's cool. So that's something. It's trying. I'm laughing at somebody. They texted me. Yeah, so you can see there that it is trying to pop up. Interesting, it's flirting through the. Well, I guess at the beginning of the week it was actually reflecting a weakness, but it has failed at that. That's for sure, and it's back into the saddle again. Those cowboy songs always slide into my head, and you can see it there. It went into the weekly buy last week, and so there's the winner chicken dinner right there. That's strength in the Canadian. How's that look to you, Stefan? How you doing, Stefano? Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening. At this point, in Europa, it's got to be like afternoon, right? So, yeah, definitely. No problem. 47. Yeah, that's the name of the game there with the Canadian. It's interesting to see that. Matter of fact, I want to do this. I'm going to drift. I'm not going to put the cable up yet, but I want to take a look at the. I want to look at the. Since we're there, I want to take a look at the NASCAD. Is it the NASCAD? Yeah, NASCAD in New Zealand. Take a look at the New Zealand, the loonie trade, just to see if it's joining in and falling down with the Canadian in a sense. When the Canadian's going up, it is falling down really. Now see that it's showing strength there, and the weekly. How come the weekly's not in there? And it climbed into the weekly last week, right? Let's just check that line 20 something, right? Line 23 there. You can see it on the fact check spreadsheet. It did climb into the weekly buy last week. And so, just for fun, we'll just drift over to afternoon. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I hope it's a sunny day there. Let's take a look at crude oil just real quick. Right there. That's natural gas. It's trying to back off this morning, natural gas. But let's look at crude oil. Yeah, crude oil's moving down. Now I'm a little surprised. I imagine that the NASCAD could start to roll over again. More debt than ever before. Yeah. Andy, I saw a excuse me, I saw a what was it? The ratio. We're 124 trillion into debt with a GDP in the 20s. So we're 4 times, but I understand that like China is like, 300 times, and I understand Tokyo is like 250 times. So as I always say, and some money managers have and traders have said, America is the cleanest of the dirtiest shirts in the laundry. I think that's the best way to describe it. We are the cleanest of the dirtiest shirts in the laundry. I think that's the best way to describe it. So that's about the best way I can describe it. So it's Crazyville. Now let's jump back over to right here. Let's take a look at the British pound. Right there. And the pound is backing off also, just as some of the other products are starting to back off. Let's see. Let's take a look at the British pound on the Chicago Quant. Right there. A little backing off, but still in a buy, looking very firm. So you could give it a refresh just to double check. Where's the refresh on this? Let's do that and scroll that. There it is. So you can see there, it's still holding up. It's still bouncing around. You can see the weekly is, we should put a little circle thing in there. The weekly is definitely trying to turn up in there. That's for sure. Change that color. Like so. There it is. And it's showing some life in it too. Now that's been kind of interesting. 5 weeks in a sell, 6 days in a buy. You can see where she. You can see here. We'll put this all the way up to the top. That was the week it confirmed. Like that. Confirmed up in here. In the sell, we're starting to flirt with a weekly buy right back up there again. That's why we watch the markets in the daily. And matter of fact, I guess it went into a sell right there on that at the same time. So we take that out, and you'll see the sell right there. That's why we trade hard delta with both of them lining up, and we trade options. We can get away with trading options with only one of them lining up. That's the whole key right there. Excuse me, Doc. Why are you saying that the euro is strong today? It's very low. No, I mean it's been strong for weeks now. So let's go back to the euro, and we will show you that. So as you can see here, it went into the weekly buy. It went into the daily buy right here. That's probably why we probably had to, not you, but we've probably had this discussion. Someone else probably asked. We went into the daily buy right up in here. See that right there? And it's been in a daily buy. So that, to me, overall, on a day-to-day basis, has been strong. Now, it went into a weekly buy the week later in here, and it just shows, it has been moving up. Let's widen that out more like that. So it's been moving up since here. And you can see it on our fact check spreadsheet there. 2 full weeks in a buy, 12 days in a buy. Now, has it topped out yesterday? Obviously so. It's done some type of little topping in here. But in our math, we're just looking at it as a correction, not some trend change at the moment. Until it gets into a daily sell with the histogram going into the minus. The white line represents kind of a warning when we use a gas line 3 versus a gas 3, that it's a second standard deviation to the histogram. That's all it really is. And we look at it on the time manifold right here. Let's see if we can change the style there. So we're looking at the time manifold. We just thickened it up. And we can widen this like so. And see how it bounced off of it during its little correction, climbed back up over the time manifold right there, showed more strength again. You can see here it does this little topping the next day. You see it's moving down. You start to think, okay, maybe it's going to go down. But it's not in a sell. It's just that it's showing weakness. You can see here it bounces basically off the time manifold and starts to climb again. You get the next day, you get that out of it. And you can see it gets a peak here. Now you can see here from that peak, it's coming down to the time manifold, but it hasn't broken it. And you can see on that, this is the daily. You can see here on the weekly, same situation. It's still climbing. This could be just a correction more than anything else. It's not exactly screaming, about anything in particular. You see what I'm saying? So to me, 12 days in the daily buy, it's still strong. It's not as strong as it was yesterday, but it's much stronger than when we started in the daily buy. In this case, it's 12 days ago going on the 13th day. Okay, does that make sense to you, Stefano? Where can you see these charts? Let's see. Let me see if I can find something here for you. Go Snow. No. Simon Bar Sinister. Let's try there. Oh, that's too big. So we're going to show you where. There we go. Right there. See it right there? I mean, you can ring that in the States. Robin will talk to you about it. That helps you out there? So that's where we're at. When we're trying to understand these, we use a J4X. Let's show you what we do with the J4X. What we did is, let's put the euro back in there again. So what we did is, I've been doing Dukascopy webinars, for the Swiss bank here company, for a bunch of years. And I've developed some tools. I've won some contests and so forth using this with Dukascopy, but I'm not really paying attention to the contests anymore solely because I'm so busy doing other things. But this is one of the better tools we've come up with that's public. Now, there's no doubt, the Dukascopy one matches to my math in the high 60s, low 70s. So it's going to be okay. It's going to match up with our green dots to a certain extent. It's about 7 hours behind, which is a lifetime in trading. But if you have nothing, it's better to have that than have nothing, basically. That's what it comes down to with the J4X. And so you can tune in. You can use a fast-moving stochastic here and a slow-moving stochastic here, and that will match up somewhat to our daily numbers here. with our like I said, it has the J4X has a correlation of about 65, 68%. So, but you can go to the Chicago Quant and go with the more accurate things. But this is a really good tool I have developed for the J4X. It's a good tool, and when you're hungry to try to in the middle of the trading day or you're in the middle of a trade, it's better to have something versus nothing. That's the way we always look at it. Rather have something versus nothing. So that is my explanation of why I refer to that. See, I'll check to get specs. I'm assuming beans that would qualify to fill an exchange contract, but let me ask. They are in California, so it might be a few hours to get information. Okay. Hey, Robin, I just got a message back. You can, we'll wait for it, but I'm going to forward this to you. There we go. There we are. About the beans. All right. So does that answer your question there, Stefano? I hope so. Now let's drift. Where we at now? Let's see. We looked at New Zealand and we looked at Canadian. Oh, I know it is. We go to Turkish Lira. Let's go to Turkish Lira and see what the Turkish Lira looks like. We're showing strength the last couple days. Yeah, still showing strength. Right there. Let's go to the Chicago Quant. You can see here the white line has pierced the dotted line a few days back. I forget if this is Daniel. I think Daniel's got these MACDs down at the bottom starting to move up. I think he follows the lines too. And so we've thrown MACD onto this chart also for some of the traders around here. And then let's take a look at Turkish Lira through Chicago Quant. Yeah, see it's still moving up. What I'm a little curious about is the flat line we're getting out of the weekly signal. I find that very fascinating. With the way it's flat here, one day we're just going to see this baby just rocket up. We'll be like that high. We'll be right up at the line itself with the histogram. But right now it's going through its rhythms. It's digesting all this math in here. So, but you can see here one thing is for sure is it's got upside pressure. And as much as it's in a weekly sell, you can't be short it. In other words, it's not going down. It looks like, I think it wants to go to these dotted lines right there. I think this is good. This could be the beginning of some real problems for the Turkish Lira. Yes, indeed. All right. And I'm glad. I am glad, Stefano, that it all made sense to you. This is a good thing. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's like in The Wizard of Oz. Let's see. Where do we head from here? Let's jump over to, since we did Turkish Lira, now we normally we do Canadian, and we do, what else do? We do Canadian, and then we look at New Zealand. So we've done that, and then that pushes us into the energy sector. So let's just take a look at the energy sector real quick. Let's see, where is it at? Give me the mouse. Mr. Mouse. Mr. Big. And so we saw the nat gas. There's the crude. Is that the crude? Yeah, that's a crude moving down. You can see that. If we can find our mouse. There it is. You can see that moving down. Let's take a look at the nat gas. Nat gas has been very strong for this time of the year. It's been very interesting. You can see it too. Let's refresh it. But this too is holding up over the last couple days. Went into the buy here. It's been in a weekly buy. You see it was a winner chicken dinner. And what we're starting to see here, I guess we got time to start moving into the June contract. Matter of fact, why don't we do that? Why don't we slide into June? We're going to do that right now, right in front of you. Because let's see, the NAT should be starting to head towards, let's see, add a symbol? Yeah. Futures, NG. Should be getting very close to delivery. I don't know how you do, delivery with that pipeline thing is something. Let's see, that would be the M's, J, K, L, M. There we are. And let's slide into right there. And close. And then we go like that. And there's the M. And we'll do the same thing there. There's the M again. And let's see how that looks. And then we'll put that in there up there so everybody can see. So that's June, not NAST, nat gas. There we are. Same actions going on. You can see the strength even a little bit more on the weekly. Let's just give that a refresh just for the sake of it. And you can see some weakness coming into it today, but and it's broken the time manifold. You know, as I was saying to Stefano, see, it's broken that time manifold. It's having some problems. You know, when it climbs over it, it's guns blazing long, and then when it falls below it, it starts to see it has those issues. When it falls below it, especially then, it goes through the zero line. Say sayonara, baby. So that is what it is. So let's see, where else can we go from there? That's the nat gas. Let's drift over to where do we go from nat gas? Oh, we want to go take a look at Robo. We did that yesterday. We switched the Robo to the June contract. This is for the automobiles, gas oil or gasoline, however you phrase it. You can see the pressure in this too at the same time. It's coming down, which is a hooray for all of us when it's coming down in price. You can see here it drifted into the daily sell yesterday and it's still falling. And now you can see here we are flirting with a weekly sell. Now what's fascinating about this, and I'll show you, this sticks out in my mind. It's a Wednesday. Let's see if this survives, because this thing has been in a buy since the cows came home. I'm telling you, it's been a while. Oh, no, it's got to be pink. Pink, 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 pink. Right there. This thing's been in a weekly buy since like December. See that? We've been in a daily buy. A weekly buy. Yeah, well, look at that daily buy. That daily buy was amazing. Just an explosion. It just refused to quit. That went on for, I don't know, 30 days or something like that. From December... Is that December 2nd? From December 3rd until January 20th, it was in a daily buy. And at the same time, a weekly buy. And it's been in a weekly buy and has not given up. Even with this sell-off in here, where you got the sell right there on March 17th, it got you out enough to not be long it. You were just more, unless you're trading options, you could be shorted, of course. But if you're trading the hard delta, you got to wait for the weekly to line up, and it hasn't lined up. And then it started to climb back up. And this is, in hindsight, or not hindsight, but in actual sight now, this looks like the A. This looks like the B. Maybe they're going to bring it down into the 185 area. And you can see here, for the first time since December 3rd, we are flirting with the weekly sell. That's, it's a long run. That's a very long run. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Oh, how you doing? I saw somebody. It's an expression in New Jersey. You see somebody you haven't seen in a while, you go, how you doing? And it doesn't mean like I want an explanation of if you're happy or sad. They respond, how you doing? So Stefano, you see that? How you doing? And you're supposed to respond, how you doing? So, yeah, it's a New Jersey expression here. Yeah. So you see how crude oil would say, how you doing? Crude oil's sell signal saying, hey, how you doing? It's doing pretty good, actually. Yeah. All right, so there we are with Doc's craziness. So anyway, that's fascinating though. And if we scrunch this puppy up, look at that. Not since early December, the first days of December. It's been in a weekly buy since that time. We saw that same thing with cattle for a long while. Cattle was in a long buy, and then we just wrote an article about that yesterday. And then the cash side collapsed finally. They had been holding it up, and you can see it in the back months. They're not willing to go into a weekly sell, where the front months in cattle is going into a weekly sell. So, all right, now let's see. What do? We drift over to where do we drift over? That's the energy sector. Let's go over to back to the currencies. Take a look at. We go right to the ruble from there. See the ruble trying to lift back up again. Went into the sell here, but you can see we've been in a weekly buy since the 73, 74 area, right in here, and ran to the 78 area up in here. There's the 78 high, right? 78.04. We went into the sell here. It went basically sideways down, made some nice lower lows, and it also tried to make some higher highs. So this thing's definitely rock and roll. But the weekly did not seem to care. As you can see here, the time manifold has not even been remotely broached. We'll make that larger just for the fun of it. Right there. You can see it's not even close. So, unfortunately for the Russian Federation, that thing looks like it's got some buyers in it. I mean, they're going to keep on, or I guess that's a seller really. But the pressure is on the upside. It's going to take more rubles to do things against the dollar, obviously. Let's jump over to the yen. The yen, same situation. It's been in a daily sell right from there. And so, there you go, Stefano. Good example. It tries to pop up. You can even see the white line make it through the time manifold on the negative side. So these are my non-linear time manifolds. They're mirror images, but I call them in my mathematical expression. I look at them as a non-linear, not linear. So you can't do an algebraic interrogatory. Linear calculation on it. It's a non-linear. So basically, you can see here. This is moving down. You can see we flirted with the weekly sell and succeeded. Let's put the more solid line in since we last looked at this on a more closer basis. Right there, and we can get the cute little oval gone. There it is. And so you can see the pressure is there. They're making new lows, and it's having, see again, it has a hard time trying to get through the lower time manifold there. Right there. All right. Now we drift over to, where we drift over to now? We go from there, we go over to the Mexican peso. Mexican peso has become a very interesting product. It's definitely showing us some real endurance and strength. You can see here it went into the daily sell up in the mid 20s, high 20s. And you can see at the same time it did the same thing on the weekly basis. I guess right there on the close of that day there. This is the next one, or I guess it's this one here. And same day it went into the sell. And you can see the same thing occurred. It broke through the zero line and has been below and is not challenging the time manifold whatsoever. So the pressure has been on the Mexican peso too. On a good way for the Mexicans and a bad way for the Americans trying to trade it. And so, in other words, the dollar has been getting beat up by the peso and has been making a nice little move in there. Sometimes we drift over. At one point I woke up and it was just before the London Open, and I thought, I'm not in the mood to do any particular trade. I think I'll roll over, and didn't have a particular position on the care, so I didn't get up and start trading. And let me just show you the gold. Let's go over to gold, and there's gold. You can see we are. Let's refresh that. It's a little bit lower from its high, but you can see there gold has been as high as 1788 today. It's trading at 87, so it's showing some real life in it. Let's jump over to J4X and put that up there too. All right, there. And as you can see here, it is lifting up. It's showing some life in there, and it's been in, now that's been interesting. It's been in a daily buy since what's that? March 31st, and it went into the weekly buy not until like last week. So it's been warning you down at 1700 to not be short anymore. For you option traders and binary traders, obviously it was telling you could take a shot at being long. That's for sure. You could trade the long side. I never recommend or suggest in our newsletter here for any hard delta traders to try to just trade off the daily. unless you're doing it through a derivative. And I mean an options derivative or a binary derivative. It has to be that way. It can't be, you don't want to be long, outright gold unless you've got the correct amount in your account that won't stop you out. Because you can see nothing goes straight up and nothing goes straight down. It zigzags. That's got that saber tooth thing that goes on. You see how it goes to here? So you're here and it goes up to there and it comes back down. It goes up and it goes down. It's got the saber tooth thing going on. All markets do. And so what it's telling you is that the overall trend is your friend. And the overall trend is upsy daisy, as my mom would say. Upsy daisy. And then the weekly joins in, and then you can be a little bit more risque and try to be long the hard delta. And of course, in this case here, it's winner, winner, chicken dinner. Because, basically, whereas it starts off at the 71-ish area with a low of 69 is divine. And then you end up at today at 88. And so there it is, a divine trade. And that's the rock and roll of that. And then let's check out Mr. and Mrs. Silver. And you can see the same thing right there showing the success of its strength. And again, it's a zigzag. It's a zing, zing, zing. It goes into a sell here. Gets into the buy right here. It jumps. But we were in a weekly buy. So that's a real winner, winner chicken dinner for you hard delta traders. And so that's the action we see right there. And then, let's see, where do we go from there? Sometimes we'll go and take a look at the South African Rand, see if it's participating with the metals market when it starts to show so much strength in there. And let's just check that out. What's that? Dollar Rand, right? Right there. There it is, Dollar Rand. So you can see here it's showing strength against the dollar as gold and silver are going up. Remember, as the Rand goes down, it's more valuable against the dollar. In this case here, it's been kind of triangled, flatlined. But you can see today, it is flirting, for you Rand traders, it is flirting with the daily sell. It's been in a weekly sell since up in here. And you can, I'm not sure why that is. That should be in red right there like that. And went into the daily sell there. Went into the daily buy right there. And then slid right back into the daily sell again right there for you Rand traders. And it's been winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes, indeed. Okay, as Buckwheat would say. Let's jump over to. I want to see what platinum looks like. Doc's a big fan of the platinum. I call it the Janet Yellen spread. And let's take a look at platinum real quick here. And there it is right there. And so you see platinum trading at, you can see on J4X, what we do is we subtract these two numbers out, the 1192 basically, I guess it is. What's the bid? The bid is 91, the offer is 91.8. It's pretty wide. And so, we'll say 91. And then you see here 1785. We subtract the two away from each other. And that's, it's getting a little expensive there, isn't it? So we're looking at 594, right? So 594, it's jumped. It's one of the highest we've seen this spread since we started pushing it and writing about it, being bearish up in the 1050 area. We've seen it drop to the 470s or 480s. Last week it was at 490 and it's jumped a whole $100. That's probably like a combination of, I don't know, the Fed and Mrs. Yellen. She normally is not into that. I mean, she seems to always be supporting that type of thing. She the spread. She was a big fan of the spread, and it seemed to do really well. And we kind of been I don't know, expecting to see it stay in the low fives. First time we've seen it even challenge the 6 area. Especially at 5 something and change. Alrighty. Now let's drift over to. I remember Daniel saying something about Palladium. Why not? Let's look at Palladium. It's a thin product, but it's a wild and woolly one, that's for sure. You see here trading in the 28s for the last couple days. Been in a weekly buy since here. Went into a daily buy, and it didn't go. Did it go into a daily sell there? It did not. So I couldn't do it off there. So it's been in a daily buy since we looked at it here. Since April, what is that? April 12th. It's been in a daily buy. Again, another winner chicken dinner for the Palladium traders around here. Because we've been in a weekly buy from here. Alrighty. Okay. Now let's drift over to, let's see. We've looked at the rand against the dollar. We've looked at the peso. Oh, I know what it is. We go into Bitcoin, which we're starting to really start to get to, we're another day. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Let's open that up, too, at the same time. It's a telephone. Let's see who's calling on the telephone. Monsieur Robin, what's cooking?
Yeah, listen, none of these places have any beans. I found one locally here.
We're in Chicago?
Yeah, in this area.
Uh-huh.
A little bit south of us. He said, to get them out to California, that's going to cost a fortune.
Well, they're going to drive their own truck out to get it. Yeah, but it's for export. It's for export. So I guess something's better than nothing. In other words, they're probably willing to pay for whatever they're willing to pay. I'll let them know that you got, and nobody else, like in Texas or Montana or anywhere, nobody has anything. Okay. All right. Well, right. Well, let me finish the webinar, and then we can go over this again. Don't worry. Bye-bye. Okay, if anybody's out there that's dealing with Chicago Quant or has some beans laying around, we're trying to help a friend out in Los Angeles. They want to ship some beans out, and we're still trying to define the quality, but they seem to be pretty desperate. They're looking for 1,800 to 3,000 bushels. So give Robin a call, and our friend is willing to pay do-re-mi cash, and so they're willing to truck out and grab it and take it from you and give you cash for it, and then they're actually talking 1,800 to 3,000 bushels, which is what, something like 35, 40, 35 to 50 acres, and most of you farmers out there are farming 5,000 and 6,000 acres. That is almost insignificant, the 35 or 40 acres. So it's a good cash deal you could get going, it sounds like. A friend of mine does IPOs, and he gets involved with some of the strangest IPOs, and he deals with people outside the United States, and they're always coming up with something that you would think that they could figure out how to get, but I guess there's a lot of shysters around. And so what happens is that they end up with people who promise them things and then almost take their money and don't give them. So my friend reached out to me because I'm, I guess, better than a shyster. And so seeing if we could come up with some way of helping them out. Anyway, that's what that's all about. So any of you out there that are farming, 5,000 or 6,000 acres or 3,000 acres and doing beans also, 1,500 or 2,000, I got somebody that wants to buy 35 or 45 acres off of you every month for X amount of time. Supposedly it must be in Asia or India, in that area, because he says that the Chinese are just swallowing up everything and they can't even get a hold of what they need. And they're just getting priced out of the market. So they're willing to drive a truck to wherever you are to get the 1,800 bushels. All right. And then they'll take it to Los Angeles port and then ship it into Asia from there. All right. Where are we at? Oh, I know it is. That is the Coinbase, and I think we're looking at a 33-minute there, but I don't see our algo. Where's our algo? Why are we not seeing our algo? Let's see. Oh, it's off. That's why. Status. Let's see. Now, why won't it turn on? Now, that's curious. Oh, plot 2. That's why. Format, properties, plot 1. Yeah, it's plot 1. Bottom. Okay. Cancel. Format. Maybe that does it. No, that doesn't do it either. All right, let's try this. Let's just try removing it. This is Coinbase. We're getting close. Now, this is just a 33-minute. We're going to be following, excuse me, we're going to be following this product very closely. We think it's much more liquid than the Bitcoin. Let me show you Bitcoin here, and then we're going to go back to that real quick. And Ethereum, the bid and offers and those things are wide. You can see here we've been in a daily buy with it 2 days, and now we're starting to feel more daily sell here when it comes to Bitcoin. We did pierce into the buy side. So we're trying to get into we're flirting with the buy. We're in the buy this week, but it's not holding up very well, and now we're going into the daily sell with Bitcoin. Now let me go back over to Coinbase. We're looking at this on a very short-term basis, and then there's the daily of it. You can see it's taking some time to build up. We've, 6 days of it. We're going to need about 10 days to get the math to start working on it. I mean, I can do it on a hand calculation and give you a buy or sell right now, but that is not relevant at the moment. We're letting the machine do the work. So let's go back down to where was it at? Right there. Let's go back to the 33-minute just to get a flavor of its action. Let's contract that up. So there's that. Let's go with format indicator. Let's remove that. Let's add that. Let's go with gas line 3. And properties to 1. And let's see what happens there. There we go. And let's widen that out. And let's see. For the very first time, I've not looked at this. So let's see how well this does. Matter of fact, why don't we go to a 15-minute and even get a little bit better flavor. Or an 18-minute. Let's do an 18-minute. Let's do half of this. There it is right there. And let's widen it out a little bit, and we'll get a flavor of this. So you can see here it went into the buy right here, and it lifted up from what? The $321 area to the $323 area over the hour there. That's not too bad. Broke down here, went into the sell, and still stayed. Well, it was down 1, and then to close, and then you can see here it followed through into the next day. So it gave you a sell there, and it broke down, and it broke down from. It went into a sell at 321.51, climbed as high on the bell at 322.50, losing $1. And then the next day, today, right now, live, it's at 316, so it dropped $5. Matter of fact, it got down to 315, so it dropped over $6. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Do you like Algo and Project, or just the coin? As a pure investment speculation, I'm starting to, I've been believing since I tried buying Bitcoins out of a gas station about 6 years ago. They were selling them at gas stations up in the Princeton area, and I was buying them through this cheap little machine, and they were like, I don't know, what were they then? They were, what was it? I guess they were $400 or $500, and I was buying bits of Bitcoin then, and I believe we had a webinar person here, Wilco, and I talk with him through the LinkedIn every so often, and I really believed that there was a need for an alternative because a lot of us were really disappointed with the way gold and silver had been controlled by the central banks, and I could see that the cryptos with the blockchain technology as an alternative to inflation. And I guess I'm trying to phrase this correctly, but I really believe that we will see some type of inflation, and there's going to be a fear of it somewhere. And money management theory says there's a long way to your answer, but money management theory says basically that you need an inflation hedge. Now, with listed options and binaries, it really kind of removes a lot of the metals market of old. In other words, you don't need to have money. Let's put it this way: before 1976, before there were listed options, what would happen is we would get a money manager when they saw inflation. They would take their portfolio and increase it from, say, 1 or 2% of gold to 3% or 4%, and they would. And the rule of thumb was don't go any higher than 5%. Well, fast forward to 2008 with with quantitative easing and the central banks taking gold and silver and using them as a currency, and we see this massive move of asset inflation. But what do we see with gold? Outside the United States, we see gold make consecutive all-time highs. But in the United States, we see gold go from 1900 in like 2010 all the way down to 1100 or 1000, right? I mean, it loses almost 50%. At the same time, we're watching asset inflation just go through the roof. So I really believe the short answer is that I think that the cryptos are a very good asset as long as we have electricity and internet. Basically, it's going to be a very good asset inflation tool. So I think it's not speculation. It's an asset inflation. And as I was saying, I was talking with one of my sons at dinner on Monday night, and I said to him, he has an economics degree, and I said, it has taken that position very clearly now. I said to him, and because he was long dog, both my sons are utilizing the cryptos also. And I mean, they were long Dogecoin at like a quarter a cent, maybe even lower. And they lightened up in the 25s and 35s, and they still have some up in here. I think they lightened up into the 40s also, and they've sold off 75% of their position. After not tripling, quadruple, sevenfold. I mean, they went from a quarter cent and sold it off between 25 and 45 cents. Sold 3/4 of their position away. So. They still have thousands of those things. So I don't see it as a speculation as much as it looks like a speculation. I see it as an asset tool. That's how I see it, as literally as an asset inflation tool. It's taken the role of what gold and silver should have been. Gold should be $5,000 or $6,000 an ounce. It should not be $1,700, as you can see on Dukascopy right there. It should not be $1,784. It should be, it should be representative of the asset inflation that we've seen. How does gold, when the Dow Jones Industrial Average under, since Mr. Trump in particular, has gone from, it's gone from 15,000 or 16,000 to 31,000. How does not gold go from 1,800 to 3,600? I don't see that. You can see that the cryptos have done it. We've seen over the last 9 months, we've seen cryptos go from, 25, 30,000 or 20,000 to 60,000. It's tripled. So no, I don't see it as a speculation. The only thing you're speculating on is that we're going to have electricity and internet forever. I don't believe that. I'm a scientist, and right now I can tell you our sun is not doing us any favors. We are going through a very rough time, and over the next 20 some odd years, we're going to have a lot of issues. I'm going to leave you with this word, and the word is Carrington, and the Carrington event. Look up the Carrington event. Our sun is moving towards a micronova. I don't know what damage it's going to do, but I don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to have electricity and internet in the next few decades. Somewhere along the line, it's going to blow it out. So that's when the gold coins are going to, and the silver coins are going to be much more. So you can take your cryptos and you can buy metals physically. Problem is that when we get hit, you have to read the Carrington event. It happened in 1859, and what it did to metals on Earth and everything around it. So there's a paper out by the CIA. It was just declassified over the last decade. It's called the Adam and Eve Project, and it's got nothing to do with Adam and Eve. And there's some concerns. I have concerns about the modality we live in right now. I do. So it's not a speculative tool, and I think that you have to be careful about. Let's put it this way: when the next event comes from our sun, the CME that hits us, it won't really matter either way. So you might as well be long cryptos right now while life is for the living, because they are the things that are compensating for asset inflation. And that is the crazy of the day. So, but everybody look at the Carrington event. And we can bring that up again tomorrow. But I'm not a doomsayer. I'm just a scientist. And I follow our solar system very closely. And I can tell you, it has hit Pluto already. It's coming in. Whatever is occurring to us is coming in. A third of the atmosphere of Pluto has been ripped off now over the last 3 years. Neptune has doubled, and Uranus has doubled their weather patterns. Doubled. So can you imagine your normal day where you have 5 mile an hour winds, and now they are 10 and 20, and a day where we have 70-mile-an-hour winds, they're 200. That's what's happening on Uranus, and it's hit Neptune. It hit Neptune and Uranus. And it's coming towards Saturn and Jupiter now. And we'll see what happens. And then from there, it's going to end up hitting Mars. And from Mars, it'll hit Earth. And we'll see. I'm just watching it happen. And it's happening physically. Matter of fact, the weather on, I think it's Neptune, has gone in reverse. It's actually gone in reverse. Can you imagine our planet stop and spin reverse? So, anyway, this is Doc from Crazyville. Happy trails to you. Until we meet again. Happy trails to you. To all our trading friends from the mathematical world, Doc says arrivederci.